So this week with Not Me SD, we had one of our monthly classes, and it was our pepper spray and situational awareness class. Now, I love this class because we teach the women about situational awareness and pepper spray. It's as simple as that. And this week, of course, it's always led by our amazing instructor, Alicia. So, Alicia, how was the class this week?
Okay. So class was pretty awesome. So the ladies were super excited. We had a couple of returning ladies that have done it before that see value and, continuing to kind of come back and this is true with anything. You expose yourself to something more than once, you're going to pick up different information than you did the time before. So it was awesome. We spent time talking about the legal reasons why pepper spray, right? I will tell you, a lot of people think that, well, if I carry a gun, what do I need pepper spray for? Like, why?
Right.
So we talk about the importance of it. Why? Because the idea is, in the eyes of the law, we have to be proportional to our threat. Right? The gun should not be the only answer. And it's very critically important, in my opinion, to give yourself a defensive tool, an option at a lower level of force. Not everything, the gun can't be the answer to everything, and it should not be.
Pepper spray is less than lethal, right?
So non-lethal in California.
So when I talk about pepper spray and kind of like the different levels of protection, I always say your gun is always your last option, right? Because if you pull the trigger on a gun, Alicia, you know it, you're going to jail. And like your life is going to change no matter what. So that's why we like to teach these pepper spray classes, is because at Not Me, we believe in having as many tools in your tool belt as you can to protect yourself.
Right.
And Alicia, what do you carry on a regular basis, just in general? Let's talk about
what do I carry?
Yeah, like what do you carry?
So, I mean, granted, I don't wear the same outfit every day, right? I don't always look this way. I am often a lady
right now,
right? I'm often a lady. You can often find me in something dress or skirt, but I always have the same tools, and I do feel it's important to put your things in a consistent place.
Right.
So what that means for me is I personally do not carry a purse. I choose not to. I will leave it on every bathroom stall door and every restaurant chair. Right. So I choose not to because I know me. So that's not a good fit for me. So what that means is I've got what I've got on my body to put all of my tools. So I do carry a knife with me every day. Now, a knife is a deadly force tool. It would never be my first go-to. My knife is right here, and mine tends to be more for failure to extract casings and Amazon boxes. Now, should something occur with my firearm to where it maybe is not accessible or out of commission for some reason, a knife is an option, but it would never be my go-to. It's the same level of force. You are more likely to hurt yourself on your own knife. Right, so not. So my pepper spray is with me every day. And again, we've already established I don't carry a purse or a bag. I don't always have pockets. So my go-to place that's always consistent, that I always have available, is right tucked into my shirt there. So I have one consistent place because I don't want to be like, wait, where did I put it today, and checking all my pockets. I don't do that. So, and of course my firearm, I'm not going to pull that out here on YouTube, but I also have that with me every day, and I put that in the same consistent place.
And you train to be able to practice with that in case you ever need to use that.
Correct. Absolutely.
All right. So I know we went a little off topic, but it's okay. I like to talk about this because this is kind of talks about like what we do. So now let's talk a little bit more about the class and what we kind of talked about.
Right. So we talk about the legalities. Why, right? Not only the why from a legal perspective, but why from a moral or just a mindset perspective. We talk about situational awareness. We talk about our code of colors, and we talk about zones and what is appropriate and how we should not be letting certain people into certain zones and close proximities to our places. And we talk about cues that people may give and indicators that, those furtive gestures and things that we may see that might be problematic. We talk and we practice the idea of ask, tell, make. Right? If you have someone approaching you in a way that, or someone in your space that for some reason that's just not making you feel comfortable, any reasonable person, if you make it known that, hey, I'm not feeling good about this, I'm uncomfortable, I need you to step back, whatever it may be, somebody with not bad intentions is going to be, I am so sorry, right? Did not mean to, right? Something along those lines. But somebody who tends to have, maybe they're using a ruse to get close to you, they have bad intentions, they will tend to kind of take a different path, might accuse you of being unreasonable, right? They might try to sweet talk you to kind of still stay in your space, right? So we talk about that, we practice that, we demonstrate it, and really drive that home. And then also talk about the importance of don't be afraid to stand up for yourself, right? As ladies, we are often taught to be polite. When it comes to self-defense, if there's something that's just not sitting right with you, we don't have to be polite. And so we talk about all of that.
And I love when we're teaching these classes and we teach them how to use their voice, right? And I love how some of our little old ladies that take these classes are like, I can't cuss and I can't say that. And so we actually have to teach them, how to use their voice, and getting them to actually, one, say a cuss word and to say it like with intent, for me is always like that that barrier that we have to get through with some of these.
Right.
And I think it's so funny because they're like, I can't cuss and I don't want to say that with like force. And it's like, no, if you're feeling uncomfortable, like you really need to say that.
Use your voice. Don't be afraid to use your voice. And then, of course, we then move on to the practical side of pepper spray. How do you use it? Right? We talk about staging it. We talk about how you pull it. What part of your hands do you use? We use thumbs. We don't use index fingers.
Yep.
Right? We talk about the scientific side of what does pepper spray do? What does it do to the mucous membranes? What does it do to the lungs? What does it do to all of the physical parts of the body, the pores, the skin? We talk about decontamination, of course, the practical application of the spray in the target zones. We talk about spray versus gel versus fogger. So we kind of cover all of that as well.
And what we work with a particular brand. What brand is that?
The brand I prefer is going to be Palm. So there are two popular companies that both do third-party testing that will basically, I would say that I trust the content of what they claim to have. Anything other than Palm and Sabre, which are those two, I personally would not trust or consider carrying or ever recommend. Between Palm and Sabre, my preferred brand is going to be Palm. That's what I recommend over Sabre personally, and that is what we provided the ladies too, because as part of the class, they do get a pepper spray. They get to leave with the tool.
Spray.
They do.
So we've talked about the pepper spray a little bit, part of the class. Let's talk about the situational awareness. Now, I love these classes because a lot of times we get like mother-daughter duos, right? And there's always a particular time in these classes where we talk about situational awareness, and the first thing we talk about is being on your cell phone, right? Like, because how many times are you out and about and people are just looking down on the cell phones, like not paying attention. And I love when we say that, and the moms always look at the daughters and they're like, yeah, get off your phone, right? And it's just because these kids these days are always on their cell phones. But then like one of the other opportunities where people are more of a threat out where they're not paying attention is simply putting groceries into the trunk of your car, right? And what I love is, I don't know how many times, Alicia, you and I have done these classes together, but I always walk away like being like more of a head on a swivel too, because I'm always paying attention a little bit more. But like where these threats are going to happen are in these like everyday situations. And think about at night, or again, simply just putting groceries in the trunk of your car while you're not paying attention. Right.
Yeah. So that kind of comes into play with the code of colors, right? We've got our white, we've got our yellow, we've got our orange, we've got red, and then of course there was a later addition of the black. We talk about all of those, and we talk about the importance of, in yellow, we're not paranoid, we're paying attention. Right. And we shouldn't, while yellow is where we need to be when we are out in a not so safe, not in a secure area. Yellow is where we should be a majority of the time. White has a place. White is when we are daydreaming. We're soaked in and absorbed into that phone. We are just resting the mind, not paying much attention. We're having a bit of aloof, right? We need to have that downtime. There's nothing wrong with white in the appropriate place. So we talk about that, but we talk about the importance of kind of having your head on that swivel, just paying attention. I walk through a doorway. I don't just walk through and go the direction I know that I need to go. I take a moment. I do a quick scan. I arrive somewhere. I don't just hop out of my car. I take a moment, kind of scan the parking lot. If something doesn't sit right, I don't get out. Right. So just pay attention, right? Then you got your orange. Your orange is that you've identified a problem where you start formulating a plan. Maybe I decide to cross the street. Maybe I decide to not get out of my vehicle and I leave. Maybe I decide to turn prematurely into somewhere I wasn't planning to go, but I go into a business instead. Where there's other people, I change my pattern, I change my intent. I don't continue forward towards something that I see that isn't sitting right with me. So red is the implementation of that plan. Right, black is just the understanding of human nature is that we sometimes might even freeze. So understanding these levels of awareness we need to have, and then when and how and where it's appropriate to have them. And as far as the cell phones, absolutely get your nose out of that cell phone, get your eyes out. Now there's lots of YouTube videos where they've interviewed men, women from prison, right? Murderers, rapists, burglars. What do they look for in a good victim? Well, the first thing they look for is they look for someone who's distracted, right? Someone who's distracted, who's not really being aware of their surroundings. Not only that, but someone who walks with a lack of confidence, right? It's not uncommon for people, in particular women, when walking, two people pass, if one makes eye contact, the other tends to look down, right? Walk with confidence. Look them back in the eye. We're not in a confrontational way.
I'm stare down with you.
Right? No, you have hey, how you doing? Right? Let them know they've been seen. Right? Walk with confidence. So walk with confidence and don't be distracted. Those are two things that make a big difference. Make a difference, and it can make you. When you have the ability to look someone in the eye and have the confidence to do that, you are paying attention to the world around you. You don't look like a good victim. So that's important.
That is important. So We love this class, right?
Yep.
We do this a couple times a year, and I know you
Yep.
said there was a lot more requests for it. So
Correct.
for all of my Not Me ladies, we'll probably be doing it again early 2026. So keep an eye out on the calendar for that, and we'll be doing another one soon.
That's it.
Thanks, Alicia.
Absolutely.
Hey, thanks for watching Gun Owners Radio. I hope you loved that clip. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and follow us on social media. And check out our website at gunownersradio.com.